Welcome everyone to this video. I'm going to be breaking down transit part 2 video, foundation 1.2, and now I'm going to move on to how we analyze based on the transit. Let's say the transit was for Mercury, transited the location of the signifactors on July 26, 2022 at 9:29, right? How do we know whether it's going to be a buy or a sell? How do we know that's going to be a buy or a sell? So what we do is that once we find these transits, they might be for the malefic planets on the opposite or square to the directional places of the signifactors, or it might be the new moon transits, or it might be just general transits for any planet on the directional and radix position of the signifactors. So for that, we're going to highlight all these. We're going to go through a couple of them. Yeah. So just to explain how we know whether it's going to be a buy or sell. So I'm going to start with the transit that Mercury made on July 26, 2022 at 9:29. So we'll open Astrolog 7.3. So once we open Astrolog 7.3, we'll go to info. Then it says chart info. Then we're going to put in the month as July, on the 26th this year, yes, at 9:29. The place we look up what's this at the place when it comes to the place, we look up the same New York City and then apply the same location. So if you did everything right, this should give you the exact transit of Mercury. When we did this right, by what we did this right, I mean that we did use astroseek.com website to find those transits. If we did input in the right location for each calculated time, and also if we did put in the correct degrees and minutes and sign, we should be able to get this transit. Yeah. So we find that Mercury, yes, did transit at 14 degrees Leo 13 minutes, which is the directional place of the moon here, or the radix position of the moon. The radix position of the moon is at Leo degrees, Leo house, 13 minutes, right? So once it transits that place, what we do is that we go to chart, and then we click on chart on aspect list. Once you click on aspect list, we look for the aspects of Mercury. So we have first here on the 4th, on this 4th here, we've got Mercury square Mars. Yeah, Mercury square Mars. Then on the 5th one aspect, we have Mercury sextile midheaven with a positive orbit. Then we have the 11th one here, which is Mercury sextile or semi-sextile ascendant with a positive orbit of 1 degree as well. Then we have the 21st one, which is Moon semi-sextile Mercury with a positive 4 degrees orbit. And then we have the 27th one, the 27th aspect, which is Mercury square Venus with a negative orbit of 4 degrees. Then we've got 29th one, which is Mercury, semi-sextile Venus, which is a positive orbit of 3 degrees. And then we have the last one, which is the 31st aspect on these aspects, which is Mercury, sex quadrant, Neptune, right, which is a positive orbit of 3 degrees. So to just recap on what these orbits mean. So if we have a positive orbit, right, if we have a positive orbit, it simply means that we still have this number of degrees. Let's say here, let's say the first aspect, which is the moon conjunction Venus, it is orbit, the orbit is positive, yes, and we have 0 degrees 37 37 minutes. So what this means is that we still need, for the conjunction or for the planets to come to the same position, we still need about 37 minutes for one of those planets to transition to the other position of the same planet, of the other planet, right? So in short, if you got a 90 degree, it means that it's not yet 90 degrees, it's 89 degrees, right? And you've got some minutes for it to become 90, right? That's what a positive orbit means. For a negative orbit, so this is not yet an aspect. It's about to become an aspect, right? So since it's not an aspect, we're not going to be considering it unless the orbit is 0 degrees and 0 what? Seconds. Unless the positive orbit is 0 degrees, 0 seconds, then we can consider that aspect, right? However, what we're going to do is we're going to be looking at negative orbits. So this is very important. The positive orbits, we don't look at them unless the orbits are 0 degrees, 0 seconds. So I mean that it's exactly at that, exactly the aspect, right? So for the negative orbits, in this case, it simply means that, like this one, Mercury the fourth aspect, which is Mercury square Mars at 18 at a negative orbit of 18 minutes. It simply means that the 90 degrees or the square aspect has already been reached, and yet the aspect or the planet, one of the planets has moved past the 90 degree mark by 18 minutes. So what this entails, what this tells us is that the aspect is already in waking and has gone overboard by 18 minutes. So remember that our allowance that we give for the aspect is that it should still be in 5 degrees 59 minutes. So as long as the square is still for as long as the aspect is still between 90 and 95 59 minutes, it's still working. So in this case, our square, which has got a negative orbit of 18 minutes, it's working, and will still be working until it passes the 5th orbit or degree orbit and 59 minutes. So in our case here, the list that are the aspects that we have, the positive ones here, the fifth one rather, which is Mercury sextile midheaven, is going to be cancelled. And then for the 11th one, which is Mercury semi-sextile ascendant, is going to be answered because it's positive and it's not 0, right? It's not 0 degrees 0 minutes. The other one between 21st one, which is Moon semi-sextile Mercury, is going to be cancelled because it's positive and it's 4 degrees. So Mercury, Uranus, which is negative, and it's still within the 5 degree 59 minutes mark, it being at 4 degree 21 minute mark is still okay. So the other one, which is the 29th one, which is Mercury sextile Uranus, is going to be cancelled. We're going to consider it. And then the last one also is the 33rd Mercury 6 quadrant or 135 degree Neptune is going to be cancelled as well, because it's positive and it's 3 degrees 59 minutes. Yeah. So what we're going to do is the ones that are remaining which are negative. So we've got a negative here. The 27th one, which is 4 degrees. And then we also have the 4th one, which is negative 18 minutes. So both of them are squares, and that doesn't really matter in what we're looking at right now, which is orbits. So if the orbit is negative, it just simply means that it's gone overboard. So now, the one that has been recently made is the one that has got 18 minutes, because it was just made some minutes ago, right? Or the square was complete just some minutes ago, 18 minutes ago to be specific. But the other one tells us that the square was made 4 degrees 21 minutes ago, right? So the one that is recent, has been recently been made, is the one that wins the day to cause the market movement for that day. So our 18 minutes negative orbit of Mercury square Mars, which was just more recently made than our Mercury square Uranus, is the one that's going to cause the market movement on that Tuesday. As you can see on top, Tuesday, July 26th is 2022. Yeah, it's the one that's going to cause the market movement. Now remember that our square is bad. So the 90 degrees is bad. So we're going to have to see more sells in the market than buys, right? Yeah. So we're going to have to see more sells than buys. So in short, the direction of bias for this day, July 26th, 2022, is sell. So what I'm going to do is just open so we're going to wait for a MetaTrader to open. Just try to see what happens. Okay. So MetaTrader has opened. Let me just remove the objects. Okay. So the date that we're looking at is July 26th. Okay, we can. Okay. So this is our July 26th. So this is our July 26th, and as we can see that there are more sales. So let me go back. So our the aspect that's causing the sales for today is Mercury square Mars at negative orbit of 18 minutes. So we're saying that the market's going to be down. So sell. Now a sell entails that there is a high, right? So yeah, a sell entails that there's a high, right? So since it's going to be a sell day, we expect that those sells or the market should reach a high a high that can be found, right? A high that can be found, and it's at that high that you begin to sell. Remember that time and price are one. So when time is given, like in this case, when time in this case gives us a sell, a day, this day for sales, right? Which according to Gan, he did understand the fact that time is the one that gives price. So it's this time that should be able to give us a price. So, however, in this video, all I'm going to say is just because it's a sell doesn't really mean that the market should close down or close bearish. What I'm simply saying is that when we're told it's a sell day, the market should come to find a support somewhere, or a resistance rather, a resistance, and it's such resistance, right, that one is supposed to be looking for, right? It is such resistance that one should look for and start looking for cells, right? So no matter what we're supposed to be looking for is resistance, right? So when it's a sell day, look for support like this, and look for support within that day and be able to trade on the sell side. So look for support and sell and trade on the sell side. So perhaps in future we should be able to know that there is a way of using that time to find the price, and it's that price that we're able to make proper sales. Because what can happen is the market might have chosen to close bullish, right? Might have chosen to close bullish, right? Instead of closing down here below the open, it might have closed only above the open and is green, right? Yet it is still a bearish day. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that if you have got a good price at which you are selling at, it doesn't matter if the market closes bullish or bearish, you'll still be in what? In profit. So once the time aspect has been dealt with, the time aspect should be used. The next step would to use the time aspect to find the price. The price on its own, yes, can be found. I mean, but when it comes to accurate predictions or forecasting, like the way Gan did them, right? You need the time aspect first, and the time aspect is the one that will lead you to the price aspect, right? So I just need to remark that, because it's not all the time that just because it's a sell day, you find that the market would have dropped. Let me give an example where it would have dropped, like here on the 20th of July. It would have just dropped down without a single push upwards. Just because it's a sell day doesn't really mean this drop just like that. So you might begin to note that sometimes, even if it's a sell day, the market might still close bullish, right? Bullish. So what it simply entails that when we find the price at a direction which is supposed to be a sell, we need to look for a very good high, because a sell simply is supposed to find resistance at a certain high and then begin to sell. That's what a sell simply means. So we need to be finding the highs, possibly the highest point that the day will go to, right? And then sell. That's what this is about. However, if it's a sell day, you have to see more sells than buy. So if you notice that there are more sells here, there are more sells, there are more sells in the day, and that's what this video is going to talk about. So all of these work the same. So I have to keep this video short. So the next thing that I'm going to do is give you an example again of the moon transit, right? Once we deal with the moon transit, we should be able to do with the daily movements. The daily movement. So I'm going to give in another video the moon and the new and full moon transits for the moon, and then we should be able to analyze as well. So having said that, looking forward to another video.